What's up, folks? I'm Dwayne,
I'm Alicia.
and this is Blackboard Gaming, where we teach you about all these great board games that are out there.
Waiting to be played by you and yours.
I'm a simple man, don't wanna complicate ya.
Hey, everybody! Today, we're going to talk about the one game that I had to get from Gen Con 2022, and that game is called Evergreen.
Evergreen was designed by Helmar Hock and published by Horrible Guild.
Let's go to the table for an overview of how this game is played. Evergreen is a card drafting game for 1 to 4 players, where the player's goal is to make their planet as lush as possible. As part of setup, each player is going to get one of these planet boards, and then they're going to take these cylinder markers and they're going to place one on each of these 6 power tracks at the top of the board, where the green is on to the furthest left. They're also going to place a cylinder marker on the score track right here. They're going to place one over here, plus 50 points track, and then they're going to place one over here on the season track in the bottom left hand corner. Then each player will get one of these sun tokens, and they're going to place it at the top of their planet board like that. And then we're going to randomly choose a start player, and they're going to get this first player token. And then starting with the start player and going clockwise, each player is going to receive a number of points based on their turn order. So if this was a 4-player game, the first player would get 0 points, second player would get 1 point, third player would get 2 points, fourth player would get 3 points. Next, we're going to take this deck of biome cards, and after giving them a good shuffle, place them in the middle of the play area in reach of all players, leaving room for a discard pile and a fertility zone, which will go down here. And then we're going to reveal biome cards until we have 5 visible fertility icons. So, and that's that icon right here at the top of the card. So right now we got 3, there's 4, and there's 5. So then we're going to take the cards that have the fertility icon, and we're going to put them down in the fertility zone in different separate stacks based on their icons. And then we're going to take these cards and shuffle them back into this biome deck. So the game of Evergreen is played over 4 seasons, which is tracked down here in the bottom left hand corner of a player's planet board. And each season is going to have a decreasing number of rounds. So in the first season, there's going to be 5 rounds, second season, 4 rounds, and so on. And each round is broken up into 3 phases. You have your draft, then you have your actions and powers, and then you have end of round. In the draft, the players are going to reveal cards from the top of the biome deck based on the number of players plus 1. So in a 2-player game, there are going to be 3 cards. And then starting with the start player, he's going to draft one of these cards. So let's say he drafts this one. So once he drafts his card, he has to take the first player token and place it on the card that's furthest left. So when if the second player drafts this card, he becomes the first player for the next round. But if he drafts this card, the first player remains the first player for the next round. So let's say the second player drafts this card, he gets the first player token. So now the card that's remaining will be moved down into the fertility zone, like so. After all the players have drafted their cards, then we will move on to the next phase, which will be actions and powers, where the players are going to take actions in the area of their board that matches their drafted cards. So the second player drafted this snow biome. So there are 6 different biomes on the planet board. You got snow, mountain, desert, prairie, forest, and swamp. So there are 4 different actions that the second player can take. The first one is they can plant up to 3 tree sprouts. So they decide that that's what they want to do because there's nothing on their board yet. So they plant 3 tree sprouts. Now the second action they can take is they can do 2 generic growths. They can grow a tree sprout into a small tree or a small tree into a big tree. And you have to apply that to 2 different trees. So let's say this was the state of the board. So they decide that they're going to turn this tree sprout into a small tree. And they turn this tree sprout into a small tree. The next action they could do is they could plant a tree sprout and do a generic growth. So let's say this was the state of the board. They decide they're going to put a tree sprout here, and then they're going to grow that small tree into a large tree. The fourth action they could do is they can place a tree sprout or do a generic growth anywhere on their planet board, which is shown by that symbol that's to the right. So of course, they decide they choose this to plant 3 tree sprouts. Each biome card also has a power that you can activate in the bottom right hand corner. And you can activate this power either before or after taking your actions. Now there are 6 different powers that are tracked at the top of a player's board. And when activating that power, the first thing you would do is move that specific tracker 1 space to the right, and then you can activate that power that number of times based on the number that's beneath your tracker. So this card, I can activate this power, and this power allows me to plant 2 tree sprouts anywhere on the board. So I decided to plant 2 tree sprouts up here in the swamp area because I noticed that this card is over in the fertility zone, and I'll talk about why that matters in a little bit. Now the other 5 powers that you can activate, like this one, if you have this one allows you to change a sprout into a tree anywhere on the board. This one allows you to change a small tree into a big tree. This one just gives you points. So if I had a card with this and I activate this power, I will move this tracker 1 space to the right and get that number of points. So I will get 1 point. This one allows me to put one of these lake tokens on the board anywhere. And when I put a lake token, so let's say I place it here, then I can activate up to 2 generic growths orthogonally adjacent to that lake. So now I could change this sprout into a small tree and change this one into a small tree. The last power is I can place a bush. Now, bushes only count at end of season scoring, which I'll talk about in a little bit. So let's say I place that bush here. Of course, I will move this tracker first. There are 2 other types of cards in the biome deck. You have this card, which is a wild. So if a player drafts this card, they can take their actions anywhere on their planet board. Then you have this one that has this symbol at the top, and that is an aridity symbol. If this card is left over after the draft, we will add it to that specific biome, flipping the last card played there and placing this on top, which will lower the amount of points that can be scored in this biome at the end of the game, which can be detrimental. Once all the players have taken their actions and activated their powers, then we would do the end of round phase, where we would count the number of cards that we played. And if we've played 5 cards, then that would represent we've done 5 rounds, and we would have reached the end of season 1, and then we would go into end of season scoring. Let's say this was the state of the second player's planet board at the end of season 1. The first thing we would do is gain light points. And we gain those points based on the direction of the sun. So the sun is shining this way. So we go down each row, and each small tree would gain 1 point. Each large tree would gain 2 points. So if we go this way, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, this tree would not score any points because it is in the shadow of this tree. 6, 7, 8, 9. Now this large tree still scores points because even though it's behind this small tree, it's taller. Now if this small tree was a large tree, then this tree would not score any points. So of course, we scored 9 points. So we would get 9 points. The next thing we would do is look for our largest forest on our planet board. So down here we have a forest of 3, but up here we have a forest of 5, and that's where the bushes come in. Bushes help connect, your trees in order to get those large forests. So this one, this forest here, you would gain a point for each bush, small tree, or large tree there. So this would score me another 5 points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Then we will prepare for the next season. We will move this round tracker. So remember, the second season is only going to have 4 rounds. We would discard all our cards that we played over to the discard pile, and then we would take the sun token and move it over clockwise. And now we can start the second season. At the end of season 4, the game will end. After the players have calculated their end of season points, then they will calculate their end of game points. And we would get those points by counting the number of large trees in each of those biomes and multiplying those by the number of fertility symbols in that matching biome over in the fertility zone. So for example, over here I got 2 fertility symbols, but I don't have any trees here. So that's going to get me 0 points. Over here though, I got 7 of those fertility symbols, and I got 3 trees there. So 7 times 3 is 21. So that's going to get me 21 points. Over here though, I have 3 fertility symbols. I got 3 trees. So that's 3 times 3, which is 9. Then over here, I got 5 fertility symbols, 3 trees. That's 15 points. Now, once all the players have calculated their end of game points, then whoever has the most points will be the winner of Evergreen. So, when I first was introducing my wife to board games, one of the earliest games that we tried out, that I thought she might like was photosynthesis.
I did not like photosynthesis.
Because photosynthesis is a mean game. It just had a little bit too much take that, and
yes.
She was not a fan of that.
No.
So moving forward, like I said, Evergreen was the one game that I wanted to get from Gen Con, and Evergreen is published by the same guy, that designed photosynthesis. So now when we went to Gen Con, that was, like I said, that was the one game I wanted. They were sold out, but through some maneuvering and the kindness of some really nice people, I was able to get my hands on a copy. So with that said, okay, what did you think about the theme of this game?
Well, honestly, I like the theme. Putting trees on biomes on your own little planet, that appeals to me. So yeah, I like the theme. Although I would say it's more of a setting than a theme.
Well, yeah, it is an abstract. It is an abstract game. I mean, there's some little thematic.
There are some thematic elements, definitely.
Like the components, which we'll go into. What did you think about the components?
Okay, so let me say this. Even though I did not like the gameplay of photosynthesis, overall it was more visually appealing to me because the trees were just so lush and pretty.
Yeah, they were cardboard trees, but they were different color and different, all that. Like, I still like the components of Evergreen.
With that being said, I like the recess boards.
Yes.
I really like the different shapes and the different sizes. Bushes, trees, sprouts, they're all different sizes. And that lets you know their importance in the game. Or their value is a better word. way to say it. So I like that visual cue lets you know this is worth more. It's bigger. Like that.
I like the fact that, I don't remember if photosynthesis had water. I don't think it did. But I like the fact that this one has the little lake tokens. And I think that adds to the thing.
That adds to the thing.
Because when you place a lake token, you can generically grow a couple of your trees.
Yes.
So, of course, trees need water.
Exactly.
So I really did like that aspect.
I like that. Now, I really like the art on the biome cards. I like the way they use color. So
because it's like different shades of the same color.
Yes.
But it's just enough where you could tell,
yes.
like you could see this scene.
Yes. So I really enjoyed the art on the biome cards as well.
And I like the recess boards.
Yeah, I like the recess boards.
I like, even though there were times where we still knocked over trees, but it
was less likely. Yes.
Yeah, I do like that. All right. Well, what do you think about the mechanics?
So, I love choice in the game. So, open drafting appeals to me. And so I love the gameplay. I love the mechanics.
It has a touch of engine because, as you're planting your trees, you're preparing for the direction of that sun. So you're trying to set your trees up in order to get those light points.
That is
true. So
it
has a touch of engine building.
Okay.
But really, it's just overall drafting.
Yes.
Yes. Now, do you think this game is easy to teach?
Absolutely. Yes. I actually think that this is an entry-level game. Someone new to the hobby not only could learn how to play, but I think that they could actually be somewhat strategic in playing.
Yeah, what I like about it, first of all, the game's easy to set up.
Yes.
It's easy to set up, easy to learn. You're doing these, it's 3 phases on your turn, but the last phase ain't really nothing, in the round phase. But I like that strategy of when you draft in the card, it's some things you have to pay attention to, like which biome you're trying to build up or which power do you want to use that's on that card. And then also you have to be aware of what card is being left behind because, I can look over on your board and say wait, she got some trees over in the swamp. So do I want that swamp card to stay? Yeah.
So, are you talking about the fertility zone?
Yeah, the fertility zone.
Okay, so listen. I'm not like you.
Okay.
I'm doing good to know what I got going on my board. I can't monitor your board. However, I will say that once I started to understand the role the fertility zone played, I actually used that to make decisions on how I was going to build up my biomes, because the fertility zone can get you as many points as just building up your biomes in the first place.
Yeah, you can get some points from the fertility zone.
So honestly, I paid a lot of attention to that fertility zone once I figured out what it did.
Right. Now, I think the only little knock, and I had this with Guild of Merchant Explorers, is once you get it in the game, you pretty much have to, when everybody get their points, and you pretty much gotta you can't monitor everybody's board. So when they say
it's an honor system.
Yeah, you pretty much gotta take that at face value.
Okay.
So, but other than that, I really, really enjoy this game. This is a great game to where my line of work, I come home and I want to just phase out, but I can play this game. And it keeps me from being a vegetable in the chair. It gives me a great, relaxing downtime. So
this is an enjoyable game. To be honest, I like this game. I enjoy this game. This would not be my first pick, but this is certainly a game I would play if it was on the table.
Yeah, but I really like this game.
Yes.
It's so beautiful.
Yes.
So, those are our thoughts on Evergreen. If you like the contents of this video, feel free to hit the like button.
You can follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram.
And, you know, leave a comment in below. If you played Evergreen, let us know what you think of it. And I'm Dwayne.
I'm Alicia.
This has been Blackboard Gaming.
We will see you next time.